Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for April 5, 2024. And in the news this afternoon, JUTC warns of possible delays for commuters as the workers are restive. Commuters who use the Jamaica Urban Transit Company buses could experience delays as the company anticipates a possible strike action by some employees. The state-owned transit company says the looming action follows the rejection of a proposed increase on the existing 10.5% in health insurance coverage premiums from Canopy Insurance by some employees represented by the University and Allied Workers Union. The coverage was scheduled to take effect on April 1, but the UAW refused to accept the increase, resulting in a suspension of coverage as a minimum 70% staff enrollment, which is required for participation. The JUTC adds that the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees also met with Canopy Insurance and negotiated a 7% reduction in the original premium along with improved benefits. The JUTC says this was also communicated to the UAW, but it says despite several meetings with union delegates aimed at resolving the matter, the delegates refused to agree to the proposed changes, resulting in unresolved issues. JUTC Managing Director Paul Abrahams says that the company continues to work with the bargaining unit to resolve the matter. The issue has been referred to the Ministry of Labor, and the Transport Ministry has been advised. Parents are encouraged to help children avoid becoming victims of sex crimes. Children's advocate Dan Gordon Harrison is calling for parents and guardians to educate their children in light of the alarmingly high rate of rape and the crimes against the children before the court. According to data presented in the Home Circuit Court, 151 of the 440 sexual offense cases on the list for the Easter term involve someone having sexual intercourse with a person under 16. There are also 189 cases of rape. In the St. Catherine Home Circuit Court, where more than 400 cases are set to be heard, sexual offenses dominate the list. Mrs. Gordon Harrison says that the statistics are worrisome, adding that parents and guardians must equip their children with the necessary tools to avoid making careless and irresponsible decisions. She says that children should be focusing on building themselves, learning and engaging in activities that are age-appropriate, given the issues associated with early sexual activity and initiation.
What's troubling for me is not just the high number of cases that are being reported of, instances with a person under 16 years, is that this category continues to be a leading statistics category before the courts in several parishes over a number of years. For example, early engagement in sexual activity that our children are being exposed to forcefully, but equally troubling is the quote-unquote consensual dabbling in sexual activity that our children are engaging in, because for such a case to even be placed before the court, it doesn't necessarily point to predatory sexual activity. It points to children who are fooling around and who quote-unquote get caught, and then the matter becomes a matter that is placed before the criminal court.
Police seize a Ruger in Granville. An illegal firearm was seized during a police operation in Hilltop Retirement in Granville, St. James on Thursday. According to a release from the police, an ongoing commitment to combat illegal firearms and to apprehend individuals wanted for various crimes led to the operation in the community. Reports are that between the hours of 4:30 p.m. and 6 p.m., a premises was searched and a bag containing a Ruger pistol with a magazine affixed was found buried under bushes at the back of the yard. 2 men have been detained pending further investigations, the police said. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is appealing to Jamaicans to join the police in their fight against the crime. Anyone with information that can assist in their efforts is encouraged to call Crime Stop at 311, Police Emergency at 119, the NIB tip line at 811, or the nearest police station. Jones repeats a call for sustained public education push after 10 road deaths in 4 days. With 10 road deaths across the country in the last 4 days, Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, is once again pushing for more public education campaigns. The National Road Safety Council is deeply concerned and alarmed that despite the gains we have made as a country in respect to having a new Road Traffic Act and a ticketing system, some measure of public education through the media, and other important steps that have been taken to reduce road fatalities in this country. Since the beginning of April, 10 people have died on our roads, 10 in 4 days, said a concerned Jones. One of the most recent fatal crashes happened on Wednesday evening on the Duns River Main Road in Oteria, St. Anne. The multi-vehicle collision resulted in the deaths of 3 people and left an infant in critical condition. This came on the heels of Monday's 2-vehicle crash on the Fair Hill Main Road in Portland, which claimed the lives of 6-year-old Jaden Woolery and his 53-year-old father David Woolery. A child was also injured in that incident. There were also reports of fatal crashes in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland. Jones spoke of the role the police, the government, and the private sector can play in helping to reduce the number of crashes on the country's roads. This is a major disaster and calamity, and the options for reducing our nation from this kind of carnage are not many. The police need to, and we call upon them, and they have been doing, increase the level of enforcement on our roads, he appealed. We must receive the kind of resources from both the government and the private sector to carry out sustained and frequent public educational campaigns in this country, he stressed. He went on to scold those who continue to disobey the rules of the road. All of this seems to be falling on deaf ears in this country. People continue to speed and drive recklessly, which, if you examine what has happened in the last 4 days carefully, is the common theme, he said. Yes, there are issues in terms of fixing the roads, but the common thing is that people are not staying in their lanes, they are driving recklessly, and they are speeding, Jones added. He is hoping to see a change in road users' behavior. These are challenging times, and the entire nation must be mobilized from top to bottom to put an end to this. This madness cannot continue. We cannot continue to lose precious lives like this, he said. Jones's comments were supported by head of the St. Anne Police, Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, who urged the motorists to stop speeding and follow the road code. He said Wednesday's fatal crash has brought the number of road deaths in the parish since the start of the year to 16, the result of 11 collisions. This, of course, is a significant increase when compared to the corresponding period last year, when there were 7 fatal collisions and 7 fatalities, Powell said. Earlier this week, I had to put out a travel advisory to the traveling public to ensure that we follow the rules of the road and to ensure that we save the lives of people on our roadway, he added. According to data from the Road Safety Unit, as of April 4, there have been 112 fatalities on the nation's roads, a 5% decline in comparison to the corresponding period last year. St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce concerned about implementation of some ABM guidelines. While most people have welcomed the Bank of Jamaica's new service standards for automated banking machine operations, the St. Catherine Chamber of Commerce is expressing reservation about how some guidelines will be implemented. President Dennis Robotham contends that cash availability will heavily depend on the resources available to those tasked with servicing machines, adding that the security system supplier Beryllium is responsible for refilling all ABMs. Mr. Robotham pointed to a possible strain on resources.
How is it going to improve? They have to have new vehicle, more people, more personnel. Are they going to do it? The fact that banks have contracted that out to them, these people will have to up their game. Are they prepared? How long will it take? To me, it's a matter of the whole situation depends on the contractors who have the contract to refill these machines. Now, if NCB runs out in Linstead per se, and that's the only one there, do you think that they're going to go to Linstead alone to fill that particular machine? They're going to wait until all of them reach a stage where it's more economical for them. But the fact of the matter, if there's no sanctions, then the banks will have to use their own initiative and moral persuasion to ensure that these things are done.